Hey, what's up guys? So now that I did a deck profile for 6 Samurais, I'm going to show you guys how to beat 6 Samurais as well as some cards you can use in your main deck, maybe in your side deck, because 6 Samurais did take first place, so you're going to be expected to play a lot of them at your regionals and locals, and even on Dueling Network, it's absolutely flooded, honestly, on Dueling Network with 6 Samurai players, but it is, a pretty decent deck if it goes first and it opens up with, a lot of great cards. So we're going to talk about some of the side decks to help you out, as well as, you could just main deck some of these cards, actually, because some of these cards just work well in certain decks. So let's get right into it. So first off, I kind of want to split it up into two sections. I want to talk about cards that you can, that are essentially good first turn, when you get to go first before 6 Samurais, and then I'm going to talk about cards that are good after they've kind of already established their field. They already got the Xian out with like multiple monsters and all that other good stuff. So that said, first off, Solemn Warning. I want to just talk about this card. Really simple. Basically, if they have like Gateway, 6 Sam United, and then they summon their first monster, you want to usually Solemn Warning immediately, depending on what deck you're playing and what other cards you have as your back row. That can take into factors and consideration of why you'd want to Solemn Warning immediately. But the thing is, I would say generally, if they go for Kageki Kagemusha, just let that play go through. They're going to make Xian. Once they make Xian, warning the Xian. Again, that's if they don't have any like 6 Sam Uniteds or Gateways, already activated. But if they already have those activated, generally you want to Solemn Warning immediately, because you could have lost an opportunity to essentially stop them from plussing so much to where it doesn't matter that you negated Xian, that they're already having so much hand advantage because Gateway and all the 6 Sam Uniteds that they got the pluses off of. So keep that in mind. If they're just going to go for Kageki Kagemusha, let them go for it. They're going to make Xian and just Solemn Warning. But if they have 6 Sam Uniteds and Gateways, you might want to Solemn Warning immediately. And then this card is kind of actually funny. It's called Summon Limit, and it's a continuous trap card. It's neither player can summon more than 2 times per turn. It's actually pretty funny, especially with Asceticism, because if they don't do anything with the 6 Samurais, it goes away. So it really does hurt them quite a bit. Also, Heretics, people were side decking this against Heretics for a while, but yeah, it's just kind of more of a funny card, but actually it can hurt certain decks quite a bit. Next card, I actually really like this card against windups as well, because windups really don't have too much things they can really do. They can't summon the Rat, they can't summon Magician. In 6 Samurais, they can't special summon Elder, they can't special summon, the Kagemusha. It does hurt them, actually, which is surprising. So if you're playing, a deck that can run Tiger King, I just think he's just an overall really solid card against certain matchups, because windups are really popular, and, 6 Samurais are going to be really popular as well. Dino Rabbit is still a decently popular deck, I would say, and their only real out to this is maybe like Sabersaurus, and they don't even like drawing them in the first place. And if they draw them, it's bad for them anyways. But yeah, if you summon this against Dino Rabbit, like, they can't summon Tour Guide, they can't summon, well, they can still summon it, it'll just die immediately. But yeah, it really hurts them because they can't summon the Rabbit, and then if they summon Cobblezules, it's only 17 as well, it's just point for point. Next up, Chain Disappearance. That's another great card first turn if you're going against them, if you want a side deck or main deck. But yeah, this card's just really good if you just make sure you hit the Kagemusha, and then pretty much from there, you really are set up in such an advantage. Next card up, Gozen Match, which is pretty good against 6 Samurais, even though it looks like they're showing 2 Samurais battling out on it. What happens is they can only control one attribute, so that makes it so they can't really make Xian. It just makes it difficult, as well as using this card against windups, because I like cards where you can side deck into a variety, and Gozen Match is definitely going to help you out with that. And then Mind Crush was just there just because if you're playing Dark Worlds, you can main deck this as well. But Mind Crush is actually okay against windups too, because they have to reveal for the Shark, and you just ruin their play from there. But yeah, Mind Crush is also pretty good against 6 Samurais, because they have the smoke signals, they have reinforcement of the army, and if they go Kageki effect, you just let me see that Kagemusha. It's just kind of a funny card, and you get to see their hand. It's always good to see your opponent's hand. But Dark Worlds can pretty much make more use of this than any deck, really. And then next card, which is probably one of the best cards. Again, all these cards that I've been talking about before, these are cards you want to have before. So if you're going into Game 2 and they're going first, you might not want to side these cards in. You might want to side deck the next half of this portion that I want to talk about after this. But yeah, Thunder King is super good against 6 Samurais. Pretty much, if they don't have like Grandmaster, they're usually going to go at least -1 when you have Thunder King on the field. Thunder King it's so good against them. That means they cannot use Smoke Signal, and they, can't use Reinforcement Army, and they can't make Xian. Well, they can make Xian, it'll just get negated by Thunder King, and at that point, you've usually +1. But the unfortunate thing is, when you have Thunder King out, if they have, like, 6 Sam Uniteds, and they're just going to go for their play anyways, you don't really get to make them go minus. That's the downside with Thunder King, but he's still, overall, pretty good against a lot of matchups like windups, as well as 6 Samurais. Next up, all these cards I'm going to talk about are great cards where, I mean, you can open up with these, or you can draw them essentially later after they've established their field. So these cards like Neospatian Grand Mole, basically these just deal with Xian, and that's kind of the key card you want to deal with. So Neospatian Grand Mole, just bounce back the Xian, pretty good, and it doesn't destroy, so it just bounces it back, and it's just pretty good. And then Tragodia, probably actually one of my favorites, especially if you can take their Xian. It's just so satisfying when you get to take Xian, if you discard a level 5. But yeah, Tragodia, especially like if they've already got Xian, you just end your turn with 6 cards in their hand. Sometimes 6 Samurais are afraid to attack into a Glories if they don't have an answer, because Glories literally can answer 6 Samurais. They can just literally beat games. I've seen so many games won simply by just dropping Glories on a Xian. But yeah, keep that in mind that the only answer to get over like really large monsters is pretty much going to be either Hand of the 6 Samurai, but now they do have Exceed, so watch out for like Excalibur with 4,000 attack. So if you can keep lots of cards in your hand with Tragodia, 6 cards, with Tragodia, pretty strong. But yeah, just watch out for the Excalibur because that card can come out and it can wreck your day. Next up, Glories, just overall pretty solid, and that's a card that you probably would want to main deck anyways. But yeah, just remember, I honestly say drop Gores as soon as you can. Not as soon as you take the damage immediately. I'm saying as soon as you can that turn, because don't save Gores for like later on, because if they draw into the Solemn Warning, because if they warning this, then it's really minus for you, because you can essentially just get your summon out, and a lot of them are pretty much going to be net decking, so if they compulse Gores, it doesn't really hurt that much. But yeah, again, you want to drop it as fast as you can during that turn. Not essentially when they attack with like a weak monster. Don't drop Gores like then. Usually wait for the Xian, and then what you want to do is always attack. If they have Xian plus like Kizan, for example, what you want to do is always attack Kizan. And the reason why, if you attack Xian, you'll only inflict 200 points of damage, and they will be destroying the other monster instead of Xian. But what I'm saying with the essentially with the drop Gores as early as you can during that. Not that turn. I'm trying to think of the exact word. What I'm trying to say is drop it that turn. Not like as soon as you can during that turn, but just drop it during the turn that you have it. Because if they draw the Solemn Warning, like, there's no reason really why you'd want to save Gores. I'm sorry if this is kind of getting confusing for you guys. Just use Gores on the strongest attack. Let's just leave it at that during that turn. I'm sorry. Next up, Kinetic Soldier, just really good card, especially when they already have Xian out. The only answer to this is going to be something like any Exceeds. Can pretty much answer this as well. But if you set this, that's 3,800 defense. That's pretty darn good. As well as you can just start attacking Xian. So if they already have it on the field, if they do have lots of back row though, I will recommend you to set this card, because then, they attack it, it flips, it has so much defense, they're like, oh no, how do I get over this? Then you move it to attack position. If you summon it, you risk the Solemn Warning happening, because trust me, they will Solemn Warning this if they have it, because this card, it hurts them a lot, because pretty much at that turn, they're going to be taking a lot of damage. Next up, Gale is just one of those one-card answers to Xian. They will always destroy the other card and keep Xian alive, and Xian will be very weak. It's only at 1250, and that's pretty easy to run over with like a lot of decks. Next up, False Dynamic. This is probably one of the best cards against them, as well as this card, a great card against windups too. Just set the Dyna, just wait for them to make their play, or if they already have field control. Again, this like other section about the cards is all about after they've made Xian. You just want to, get these cards and then set them or do whatever you need to do. But yeah, False Dynamic is very good just because it blows up their entire field. I just love this card. And keep in mind, most of the stuff in their deck is special summoned. And they can't, if all the monsters on the field are special summoned, they can't destroy another one instead, because all of them are getting destroyed essentially at the same time. But if they did normal summon another one, then yeah, of course, they can just, have that get destroyed instead of Xian, which is unfortunate, but yeah. Xian's effect is insane. Next up, Spirit Reaper. They really hate this card. This card plus Marshmallow, but this card is just overall more solid. Unless you're playing Agents, then more Fairies, right? So yeah, Spirit Reaper, just a pretty good solid card against them. And then before I get into like my favorite stuff to do when Xian's on the board, I just want to talk about this card. When Zombie World's on the field, it requires a warrior. Xian requires a warrior to make him, so since all the cards become zombies, they can't make it. So this is just a funny card, which I thought was funny because legitimately there were people that were siding in the Zombie World a long time ago, but I just wanted to mention it because it was really funny. But this card's honestly not that great against like 6 Samurais. Maybe if you're playing zombies, I guess, but yeah, it's just more of a joke than anything. But okay, so I want to talk about Effect Veiler last part of this video. Okay, so what you do when you have Effect Veiler, if you do have like Torrential, maybe a Fiendish Chain or Forbidden Chalice, a really simple way to make use of Veiler, and it works so well. If they already have like a huge field, just set the Torrential, and then basically what you do is Six Samurais is a deck that swarms, so if they already had like 5 monsters in the field, you probably won't be able to do this, but a lot of times you'll see Six Sams, their first turns always open up with Xian, and then they'll get out Keyzon. They'll be pretty comfortable to summon another monster the next turn, and what you do at that point is Torrential, because they'll think, oh, I have Xian, if he activates Torrential, whatever, I'll just negate. So what they'll do is, they'll of course, want to negate with Xian, and then you chain Effect Veiler, you chain, or Forbidden Chalice, or you chain a Fiendish Chain to Xian's effect, that will make Xian not have his effect, and then they lose their entire field. And that is the way that you use Effect Veiler against Six Samurais very well. Just keep in mind that there's also Magatama, so if you activate Torrential, they can Magatama, but more than likely they will activate Xian's effect, because they're like, oh, I'll just keep Magatama, because Xian can just negate once per turn. But yeah, those are some cards that you can side deck or main deck against Six Samurais, and I'm just going to point out some of my favorite ones. I would honestly say Falsodine is probably your best bet, because most decks main deck Glories anyways, but you could side deck the Tragodia, depending on what deck you're playing against. But if you're going first against Six Samurais, honestly, if you can get out a Chain Disappearance and you hit Kagemusha, it's almost game. It really hurts them so much, just because you can see their hand, and you can technically see their deck if they don't get rid of all 3 copies. So that is just one thing to keep in mind as well. But yeah, definitely Spirit Reaper and Falsodine are definitely your MVP cards. Also, a Kinetic Soldier, if you want to, like, a card you can side deck against multiple decks, this can be used against heroes as well. But keep in mind, since the XYZs are out, Six Sams can just make like an XYZ if they want to. Because I know, Kageki is level 3, so you can make rank 3s and stuff like that to just get rid of Kinetic Soldier, because only 1350 attack isn't too strong when he's not fighting warriors. But yeah, so that's been the side deck profile if you're having trouble against Six Samurais. But keep in mind, Six Samurais, they can open up really good, and sometimes there's really nothing you can do with the hand that you're given. If you just don't have an answer to what they have within 2 to 3 turns, you do kind of lose. You have to answer Xian pretty fast. A really bad matchup, just as a side note, if you really don't like Six Samurais and you want to win a lot of the times, honestly, Six Samurais have a kind of a bad matchup, I would say, against Chaos Dragons. And they honestly have a bad matchup against Frog Monarchs, because they just drop a Fader, and then you just go, okay, let me Kaiash your Xian, bye-bye Xian. You're not coming back forever. And then they take 1,000 damage as well. So the key, what you want to do is you want to get rid of Xian as quickly as possible. If you can banish it, that is your key, because they can actually get it back with double-edged sword technique, and then kind of OTK you essentially next turn if you commit too many cards to getting rid of that one Xian. So keep that in mind as well. As well as, again, use that Effect Veiler play like I talked about, as well as keep in mind that Solemn Warning play that I talked about earlier. If they have a whole bunch of like Uniteds and all that like gateway stuff, warning immediately. If they only have Kageki, they're going to go for Kageki Kagemusha. Let them go for that. Let them make Xian, and then negate Xian, and you go +1 essentially. So yeah, I hope this helps you out, guys. If there's any cards that you think I didn't mention that were great against Six Samurais, please let me know in the comment section below, because I think there's a lot of other players that would like to beat those Six Samurais. But thanks for watching, guys. Asian Eyes White Dragon, signing out.